Hi and welcome to my 2008 Honda ST1300 Pan European sales intro / review. So I've had it for nearly 2 years now, covered 12,000 miles on it, and it's been an absolute cracker of a bike. So it's just done 30,000 miles, 30,126 miles, and it has been an absolute pleasure, but unfortunately it's time to move on and get the next bike. And never really have bikes for over 2-3 years tops, so yeah, it's going to be up for sale. So just wanted to go through a few bits. It's just been serviced, it's just had all the panels stripped off, the coolant done, which is probably the most time-consuming job to do out of the lot, so it's good to get that out of the way. So full oil service, oil filter, check and clean the spark plugs. They're having fun. Where was I? Check and clean the spark plugs. It's had new brakes, new brake fluid. So yeah, complete set of pads front and rear, and with the full fluid flush. So yeah, it is all ready to go. Also the final drive shaft oil has just been done as well, so that's a nice easy job at least, so no messing about with chain maintenance. So it's in its pretty much decent touring configuration at the minute. You can actually add the extra top box on the back, but just not necessary. So let's get on the road and have a little ride. Okay. So it's also had its new windscreen, so this has only been about a year old now and it's still looking pretty mint condition. So I will have it up for this video just because the wind noise might get a bit much. So oh, there we go. So yeah, nice new condition windscreen. I also preemptively changed the fuel pump about a year ago. Wasn't any issues with it, but from what I was reading on the forum, it was something that can be a bit of a weak point. But yeah, so basically brand new fuel pump and a new battery. Almost forgot, this is why I had to write this stuff down. So it's got a new battery, well, less than a year old I'd say. It's a USA good quality battery, so it is ready to go for whoever gets this next. I mean, it's a bit of a shame to even get rid of it, to be honest. I know for a fact I'm going to miss this bike big time. So just a few pros and cons about the bike, because I do like to be completely honest, like in my last review of my monkey bike that I sold. So it's a bit of a warts and all review. So some of the good points. So an absolutely incredible engine. So this longitudinally mounted V4 is just an absolute beast of an engine. So it has just got so much torque. It's got about 125 brake horsepower, but 117 newton meters of torque. So yeah, it is an absolute locomotive of a bike. It really does pull. And this engine, it just sounds like more like an aircraft than a motorcycle, to be honest. So some people don't like that, but I think it sounds really cool. So so yeah, another pro point is the touring comfort and practicality. I mean, it's really difficult to beat this bike price wise when it comes to touring finesse and practicality. So yeah, you can hold a ton of stuff in the panniers that look pretty sleek, I think. waterproof, and they just hold an absolute boatload of stuff. So I took this all around Europe, didn't even need any top box, just literally had my trusty tank bag and the panniers, and that was it. And whilst everyone was, you know, duct taping stuff to their bikes and bungee strapping bags and stuff to their bike and putting it in waterproof bags, I didn't have to deal with none of that. Literally get on and go. You can leave the bags even on the bike still. I don't think anyone would pinch them, to be honest. So practicality is just incredible. So yeah, big old fuel tank on it, 29 litres, so this will get you anywhere between 250 and 300 miles, which is nice because it means that you're not just stopping at every petrol station, it feels like, when your bike is limited to 150 or so miles. So I felt like I was doing tours of Europe's petrol stations when I'd done the tours on my FZ1. It's nice just to have 300 miles in the tank, just to be able to stop somewhere other than a petrol station. So that is one of the surprising benefits of having such a big tank. And yeah, which brings me on to the next point of just the ease of maintenance. I mean, this is a bit of a double-edged sword because some of the maintenance can be a little bit of a pain, as I touched on earlier about the coolant. You know, you have to take off all the fairings, which, you know, it takes about 40-50 minutes, which isn't the nicest job to do, but it really wasn't too bad. It wasn't half as bad as I was expecting. So I'm just glad that the basic maintenance, such as the spark plugs, the oil filter and the final drive oil, are just ridiculously easy to do. I think you could do the whole lot if you was in a rush in probably under an hour easily. I've always maintained all my own bikes, other than doing the more impractical stuff like brakes and stuff. I leave that down to the garage, but the easy basic stuff is just an absolute doddle on this bike. So yeah, this bike has just incredible handling is the next point. Basically, for such a big bike, because it is a big old chungus of a bike, it is huge, but it handles like a bike half its size. The weight is nice and low down. You know, the petrol tank, because it's got a secondary petrol tank underneath this main one here. The secondary petrol tank is very low in the frame, so it basically has a ton of weight down low. Maybe not as low as the BMW RT, but pretty close. It handles like an absolute sports bike. Alright, maybe not that far, but it does handle extremely well, way better than it should. So on my most recent tour in Germany, I mean, I wasn't able to outdo the BMW S1000Rs and such bikes, but I was easily able to keep up and get near to the front of the pack. I mean, in the hands of a good rider, this bike will absolutely mince through the twisties. And it is no slouch either, so you can absolutely hoon around with this bike, and it's good fun. It's a bit more rewarding than, you know, flying about on a 170 brake horsepower, you know, hyper naked or something. It's just a bit more rewarding on this bike. comfort's the next one. I mean, you can just sit on this bike literally all day. I've done quite a few 500-mile days on this now, and you get off and think, you know, I could probably do a few more miles. I mean, you wouldn't want to be doing a ton more, but it is just supremely comfortable. Nice low seat as well, so you're not struggling to flat foot it if you're a bit shorter like myself. So I'm only alright, let me get through this tunnel. I'm only 5'6" and not particularly the strongest bloke in the world, and I've easily been able to get along with this bike with no problems. It's so far, I don't want to jinx this, but it's so far the only bike I haven't dropped, believe it or not. So I have to only put that down to the handling and just nice and easy to get along with. So which does bring me on to one of the negative points of this bike, is it is a bit of a heavy bugger. So at 268 kilos dry, it is a big old lump. So in the right hands it's easily manageable, and as soon as you're moving, that weight just absolutely disappears. But it is definitely one of the downsides of the bike, is that it is a bit heavy. It's not ridiculously heavier than, you know, your average, you know, 1300cc bike, but with a full fuel tank and full luggage, it is going to be a heavy bike. But you just have to prepare before coming to stops, not put yourself in stupid positions either. Don't park downhill. Yeah, don't park downhill in a parking space that you can't push this bike back up on, because even a bit of a hill can be a bit of a struggle if you're having to push it back up. So so the weight can definitely be an issue if not managed. Oh, what way is this guy going? Oh, let's give it some. Good brakes this bike has got as well. Linked ABS brakes. They are a bit complex if you do your own servicing. I mean, bleeding them's just as easy as any other bike, but there is a bit of a process to it, and that's one of the jobs I just get the garage to do. It's just a lot cleaner and easier. So yeah, I'd advise getting the garage to do it, unless you like getting brake fluid all over yourself, in which case, you know, knock yourself out. But what other negatives? So there isn't a huge number of negatives, but yeah, weight's one. Complexity with some of the more advanced maintenance could definitely be a bad point. I mean, if you like stripping your bikes down and stuff, then yeah, then maybe you might enjoy this bike. I didn't really find it too bad taking the fairings off. But next thing was the accessories for this bike could be quite expensive. A lot of the accessories, if you just Google them, it's all very what's the word? Proprietary accessories. So I actually added this accessory bar on here myself, and it is an excellent way around that. No more buying a ball clamp adapter, ball clamp, for God's sake, a ball, oh, fucking hell. That's why you got to keep an eye out for these pop-out pedestrians. So you can get a ball mount, not a ball clamp. That's definitely a different product, but you can get a ball mount. I think the proprietary ones are 95 quid. So this was 20 quid aluminium bar, and it done the job just as good, if not better. I think it's actually a lot better. Let's see if this Panigale, whatever it is, goes. I'm not going too mad because I don't want to bin this bike before selling it, which will make this review quite pointless. I wonder if we could get a little drag race going with this. No worry about not being seen on this bike either. It does actually get a surprising amount of notice as well, as well. I mean, I always get people stopping and asking me about it, and you know, how they used to have a Pan and it was the best bike they had and stuff, which is why I know I'm going to regret getting rid of this bike. It's just been such a good workhorse. What other accessories? So you can automatically dip the headlight beam. I know that's only quite a minor thing, but it is pretty handy if you're fully loaded 2 up. You won't have cars flashing you and beeping you because the extra weight is now pointing the headlights directly in the faces of other road users. So it's a nice little touch, not having to get out a spanner to dip the headlights. I know on some new bikes it will automatically do it, but a lot of old bikes you had to get the spanners out to drop the headlight beam. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, someone's in trouble. So this bike is just an absolute beauty on the motorway. I mean, I've been doing most of the riding in this video around town, but the motorway and the dual carriageways are where this bike just excels. The engine just sings when you're sitting on the motorway in top gear. Nice low revs. It's normally sitting at only about 3,000, oh sorry, about 3,500 RPM at 70 miles an hour. So if you're doing some real motorway mileage, a bit of eco riding to squeeze up, or to squeeze as much MPG out of this bike as possible, then yeah, you can sit at 65 doing only about 3,000 RPM. So that is really where this bike is at home. do a couple of faster roads just to demonstrate, but
I'm going to put my visor down just in case, but I've barely got any wind on me at the minute.
It's you can do easily 90 to 100 miles an hour with your visor up, and you don't have to worry about stones hitting you in the face or flies with this gigantic screen. So speaking of MPG a minute ago, the bike isn't as, oh fucking hell, these potholes are ridiculous. The bike isn't as frugal as a lot of more modern bikes, but not by much. I mean, if you're just cruising along, you're not doing any crazy spirited riding, you can quite easily get over 50 miles per gallon. Even if some spirited riding, I was getting about 45, so it's not too bad. I mean, some of the newer BMWs will do 60, but you know, you could be paying 20 grand for one of them easy, if not more. So for the price and for the age of the bike, because it is a few years old now, I mean, getting 55 mpg is just excellent. So in town it does drop down to about maybe 38, 40, depending on how heavy traffic you're in, but yeah, nice easy 50 miles to the gallon if you're not going too crazy. What's this thing? So I do apologise if there is a load of wind noise, and it is starting to get a little bit dark, so hopefully the GoPro holds up. But if you're like me and you don't like riding around with your visor down, I don't know why I don't like it. Maybe it's like a claustrophobia thing, I'm not sure, but this is the perfect bike if you like to ride around with your visor up, because yeah, I've got literally no wind hitting me at the minute. Just a little bit on my shoulders thanks to this screen. It's got a little bit of the cutouts, which makes it a little bit less hot in the summer. It's very manageable now. The previous screen had almost no wind hitting you at all.
Alright, I'm going to put the visor down now. This bike does shift. So nearly about to hit the motorway section of the A20. If you're still watching now, then you know, good on you. I know it's a bit of a long boring video, but this is more just for
anyone that's considering buying the bike, just to give them as much info as possible. Yeah, this bike doesn't mind being revved out. A lot of people think this is just a big slow, you know, Goldwing cruiser, but no, ST is sports tourer. This is quite a sporty bike. wish I had some better twisties to kind of show, to be honest. Fortunately, there's not really any good ones in my immediate vicinity. Let's give it some. Yeah, this bike definitely isn't any slouch. So yeah, cruising at... So this is cruising at 60. I could see it all day. And I have done. Literally 12-hour days in the saddle. And this bike just sings. So anyone looking for a bit of a cheap long distance cruiser but also a good practical workhorse, this is your perfect bike. Alright, this bit's quite boring today. I've added a load of cameras to the A20 here, which I've already been done by once, so I think I'll call it a day here, guys. So thanks again for watching. Really appreciate if you've spent the time to watch the whole video, which I wouldn't expect for most people. It is mainly just a sales introduction of the bike. So yeah, ride safe, guys, take it easy, and see you in the next one.